After more than 5 years, the United Nations has just released its much anticipated report on climate change. Here to talk to us about it is Gunnar Myhre, one of the scientists involved. Dr. Myhre, can you tell us first, what are some of the key ways in which the findings in this report are different from the one that was released 5 years ago in 2007?
We have now more information about the warming throughout the whole climate system, with the warming in the lower atmosphere, in the ocean, and also we see that the ice is now fuller throughout the whole climate system, and
yet quite a few people have pointed out that in the last 15 years there seems to have been a pause in temperature increases on Earth. How does the IPCC handle that thorny question?
It's correct that the rate of warming is less than in the previous period, but the climate is variable, and taking over a longer time period, the warming is more as expected over a 50-60 years period. So one should be very careful about
what kind of impact do you expect this report to have? For example, is it going to lead to a more solid treaty about reducing greenhouse gas emissions?
This report says how difficult it will be to stay below the 2-degree target. With the current emissions, we have only 25 to 30 years to likely stay below this 2-degree target, and having the current increase of CO2, we have only 20 years left. So with the current emissions of CO2.
And in terms of the future, what kind of projections does this report make in terms of, Antarctic and Arctic climate change, in terms of sea level rise and other extreme climate events?
In this century, it's less than 1 meter sea level rise, and it varies somewhat between the various scenarios that are used. But also remember, if we continue and not reduce the CO2 emission quite rapidly, then the sea level rise will be substantially over a longer time scale than this century.
And there are quite a few people who say that the IPCC, although it may have done good work for many years, has outlived its time, that instead of producing these 5-year projections and reports, the IPCC should be disbanded, and instead smaller groups of scientists should focus on narrower areas that relate to climate change. What do you think about that idea?
I think it's a bit early. The report was published today. So I think we need to see what the reaction and impact this report has, and somewhat. So maybe over the next year or so, I think such a decision should be made. But I think it could be useful at least to have some smaller reports, and maybe have these larger reports with at least longer time periods between them. For instance, since the last report that was in 2007. So longer distance between this major report would anyway be useful.
Dr. Myhre, thank you very much for your time.